If you're anything like me, you got super excited when Stories 3 came out. It's a Monster Hunter RPG. What more could you ask for? So you start your game, you get a ways in, and you get to habitat restoration, which is basically the core loop of the pet part of the game. This is how you raise your monsties. So let's break it down real quick and tell you what it is. Basically, when you release a monster to the ecosystem, they're going to do all kinds of nice things and they're not going to be a problem at all. I'm looking at you, Arkfeld. As you go through the game, you're going to notice different regions have different elements. And I've gotten a bunch of questions. Should I be dual element? Should I run double of one element? What's really the best way to play? Dude, honestly, take this to heart. Play the monsters you want to play and put them where you want to put them. If you want a Fire Ludroth, get a Fire Ludroth. If you want a Dragon Chutacabra, get a Dragon Chutacabra. I have soloed most bosses in this game with any monster I wanted. Low tier, high tier, doesn't matter. And that's thanks to the Rite of Channeling. It's a subsystem in the game that allows you to swap moves from one monster to another. It kind of lessens the blow when trying to min-max. So you get an egg, you're going to release it, you're wondering where? Am I going to make a mistake? Nah, don't worry about it. Honestly, if you cap out to 10 monsters like you see on my screen here, and you introduce a new monster, it'll just ask you which 5 you want to keep. So what does it do? Well, to the best of my knowledge, your monster's base attack and kinship attack will stay the natural element of the monstie. When you get a second element, I believe it gives you stab, so you'll get like the 10% extra damage. I think it's 10%. And I think if you mono element, you get an extra resistance, maybe. But honestly, it doesn't matter. It's so negligible that in my 250 hours, I haven't noticed a difference at all. The next question I get asked a lot is like, well, what about the tendencies? Do I want to have like an average attacker? Do I want something that's cautious or proactive? How important is this? And honestly, not at all. If their tendency's less froggy, they're going to be more likely to save stamina. But most of the time, I'm controlling my monsties manually and selecting the attacks I want to use. The last thing I want is for Pookie Pookie to lick the Blightstone off of a feral monster and then get zapped. Honestly, don't worry about it too much. Hatch the monsters, go at it your own pace. The most important aspect of all of this habitat restoration and hatching eggs, to me, are the moves that you can move from one monstie to another. For example, Fireball Frolic, look at this. It's 240 power. It attacks, I think, up to 7 times to random enemies. It's a huge attack. And this came from Aknasom, and I used the Rite of Channeling to throw it onto Ratha. My favorite move in the entire game is Fruit Frenzy. Fruit Frenzy comes from Bishaten, and this has 180 power, 60 stun gauge, only costs 20 stamina, one of the lowest costs in the game, and it has a chance to poison, paralyze, or inflict darkness, and it can do all 3. This move is exceptional, and it will carry you through most of your fights. And then there's Tail Stun, Purple Gypsaros' natural move. This has a high chance to go first, stun the enemy, and deal a decent amount of Wyvern Fell. It is so multifaceted, it's crazy. This is another move that really carried me until I got Gosharog's Devil Hammer, which is basically an upgraded version. There's so many other moves out there, I really hope that you'll just play around with them and see what works for you. I know I'm not really giving hard advice on where to release your monsties, but honestly, it's because it doesn't really matter. You pick what you want. For example, I wanted my Rathalos and my Rathians to be in the same area, so I put them there. There's a couple of monsters that will require specific zones to mutate. For example, Astalos wants to be in a region that is very thunderous, so I put them in the Broadleaf Basin, and I put them in there with Lagiacrus. Now all of my Thunder Boys are together. Another mutation is Diablos, who wants to be in an area with lots of people, which means you will have to put them in the bountiful dunes of Tarquan specifically if you want to get their mutation. I'm keeping all of this pretty vague, and yes, there are some monster spoilers on the screen, I apologize for that, but I wanted to demonstrate the versatility of what you can really do, because honestly, the game's very freeform in letting you build the team that you want to play and not punishing you for not playing meta, because honestly, you can build your own meta. This game's awesome. I love Monster Hunter Stories 3. Hopefully you do too, and hopefully this helped. Until next time, happy riding.